All right, a very good morning again. So we are into the video lecture session 6, and we will be talking about designing infographics. Okay, so please pay attention to what we have here, and it will be easy for you to grasp the concept then. So we will be clicking here, guidelines for infographics design. So let's see this file. This is a very informative file. Okay, this is a research article, so I'm just going to increase the size of the file. Okay, uh, so infographics, it gives you an introduction of what infographics is, the various tools, the software options for making the infographics, and the 10 tips for creating infographics. Okay, so let's quickly run through this. Okay, and these are some of the very good tools to know. We won't have the opportunity to use many of these tools as part of this class, but if you know, it will be a very handy tool once you go to the industry and start working on these tools. Okay, so what are infographics? An infographic is defined as a visualization of data or ideas that tries to convey complex information to an audience in a manner that can be quickly consumed and easily understood. So when you're trying to show a trend, when you're trying to show a complex concept, and if you lay it out in such a way that it becomes visually very informative and easy for a people who has no idea of the field to understand it, that's what is called infographics. So basically in infographics, you're making a difficult concept easy to understand. Okay, so that's the idea of infographics, and it could be through data, through layout of various kinds of information in a very sequential, in a very easy to understand way, which makes it easy for people who has no idea of the field whatsoever. Okay, so keep that in mind. So infographics are essentially visual representations of informations. They are used to tell stories, convey ideas, or explore issues through a range of different graphics. Okay, so infographics are now widely used in mainstream media to increase a reader's understanding of a particular topic or issue. So read through this. Okay, this is a very informative file. So it's widely used in geography for data visualization, in medicine, in economics, in many fields it's used. Actually, in all the fields it's used. Okay, so you see some of the examples of good infographics. These are Typhoon, Haiyan, UK response. So this is what aid is delivering. So you will see it's just not about time analysis, okay, how things are changing over time. It could be anything. It could be showing what the response is. So for COVID-19, what is the response for a certain kind of industry? That can be an infographics, okay. As I told you in the last lecture, that poster is more wide-ranging, but infographics is more specific. Okay, it talks about, it gives data analysis. It gives you an idea of what are the steps that's being taken, how things are changing over time. So it's data centric. Okay, so that's not the case for when you design a poster. Poster can be anything. Okay. Okay, so some of the tools for making infographics. Tableau is a very good tool. I'm not going to go into this, but it gives you a wide range of options to play with. There are different kinds of infographics that you can build through a tool like Tableau software. Okay, so try it out. Tableau is a piece of software which allows you to produce a range of data visualizations and create dashboards of informations. So if once you go through that, you will be able to understand. So take some time out if you can to check out. So these are some of the infographics that you can see here. It talks about the prices, which are free versions, which are paid versions, professional edition, personal edition, and so on for different kinds of software. So it actually talks about the Tableau software. So Tableau also have a number of white papers. So it has various articles. It talks about data storytelling, okay, using visualization to share the human impact of numbers. Okay, how do you do that? The visual analysis best practices. So read through this. Tableau is a great tool. It's a very strong software that can be used for various reasons. So online infographic platforms, some of these are Infogram, as a free visualization tool with various templates, as you can see here. Pictochart, we will be using Pictochart. Actually, on the poster template, one of the options when you do the assignment for poster is Pictochart. So instead of choosing Canva, you can also choose Pictochart. Okay, so Pictochart is a free visualization tool. They didn't mention Canva here, but Canva is another very good option that I prefer working with, and it's very easy. The students like it, so this is something that you can work with easily. Is another. Take a look at this. These are very parallel tools. These are kind of very effective tools. Okay, so anyways, so consider European. So this talks about how to design. This gives you an idea of how to design an infographic. So consider your audience. Who are you building this for? Okay, you just don't build an infographic for anyone. You build it for a certain kind of audience, people who are interested in certain things. So you have to look at who you're building this for, your audience. Make it you visually appealing. If the infographic is not visually appealing, then there's no point. People will not understand it, because like poster, it has a very strong visual appeal. This is not, you're not reading a book, okay? You're not turning the pages in a book. This is like a poster which stands as a poster, but it's data centric. So the main idea is it has to be very visually appealing. Consider the size, okay, the layout, which size is best, how you're going to hang it, from how far you can look at it and understand and read it. Consider simplicity. It has to be simple. If it is very complex, then people will not understand it. The purpose of the infographic will be lost if it is not very simple. Okay, use your data effectively. Okay, you don't try to put in everything. Okay, whether it's a quantitative data or a qualitative data, you have to know what you're doing with it. Okay, you have to know what you're trying to show. Don't, if you try to show too much, then the purpose is lost. The reader will not be able to understand it. They will get confused. So the purpose is not to overwhelm them with a lot of data, but to just mention whatever is needed, absolutely needed, to make a complex story look simple. Okay, so that's the most important idea. So use your data effectively. Don't try to put in everything. Consider the impact. Okay, what do you think is going to be the impact of the infographics? Who will look at it? What kind of questions they can come up with it? What, if I look at your data, what kind of question comes to my mind? Okay, so these are the important things to answer when you are designing an infographic. Okay, so as I said, infographic is a very specific kind of data or information providing tool, whereas a poster is a more generalized approach to it. Both are visual, both are visually appealing, both has to be visually appealing, but poster is much more generalized. Infographic is more specific to the topic, shows some kind of trend, how things have changed over time, what are the steps being taken, what are the various ideas, what are the various tools, how many of these things are available or not available. So everything, whatever question you answer, is more data centric. Okay, so top 10 tips for creating an infographics. Sketch out a draft storyboard on paper before creating your digital design. So hand draw. Okay, try to hand draw and make sure you have a draft to work with, to start with. Okay, if you don't hand draw it, if you just directly go to the digital version, then it's not the right way to do it. You must have your idea in the sketch, in your hand sketch. Okay, so be clear, have a title that is likely to grab your audience. So the title has to be very catchy. It has to be short, it has to be specific, and it has to be very meaningful. Okay, be concise. Restrict the amount of ideas you're going to include. As I told you, do not try to include everything. Only include the kind of information which is relevant, which is appropriate, which makes a lot of sense, which is specific to the context. Don't try to include everything. If you try to include everything, the purpose will be lost. Try to use different graphics to tell your story. Use different kinds of graphics, okay? Different kinds of graphics that helps the reader understand and see through the data. Okay, do not bank on only one graphics. Tell a story. It's like a story. An infographic is like a story of time, a story of products, a story of how things are changing, how many of those are there. Okay, it helps to helps the readers or helps the audience to build up an idea about something. So help them do that. Limit your color palette to keep the design simple. Do not use too many colors. Be limited in its use. Limit the amount of font styles used. So don't use Times New Roman, Arial, or other kinds of many fonts. Just use a specific number of fonts. Don't try to use everything. Try not to use too much text, as I told you. Keep it simple. Keep it easy to read, quickly understandable. Okay. Use only data relevant to your infographic. Do not use data which are not really specific to your infographic. Okay. You leave it out. There will be other opportunities to talk about it. Do not try to push in everything. Use simple graphics and icons that relate to your data. If you have a lot of information to convey consider breaking the infographic into sections. So have multiple infographics or have multiple sections, but do not try to overload. Okay, so read through this. This is a very good tool. Oh, so they talked about Canva here also. Sorry, I thought they didn't. Flickr is also another tool. Inkscape is another one. So take a look at these. Okay, I'm just going to skip this and talk more about it in the Zoom talks. So right now, so this is the guidelines for the infographic design. This is another quick guideline. This is another link that you can take a look at. I'm not going to go through this. It gives you some other kinds of ideas. Basically, it's the same thing, but it gives you a few other options to templates to work with actually. So take a look at this Venngage based, because Venngage is another tool that we will be using. Okay. So this is one infographic example you see here. This is one infographic example, a very good example in the context of COVID-19. How the manufacturing has slowed down. All right. So this is one infographic. Traffic growth or decline due to COVID-19. This is another industry-specific COVID-19 infographic. All right. Okay. So we are now into infographic review template. This is the infographic review template, just like the poster template. This is the infographic review template. So look at whether you have your infographic has answered these kinds of questions, the survey questions. Survey question provides data which is sufficient and clear. Data is correct and precise. So do you think the data in your infographic makes sense? Organization and table, the visual aspect of it, what kind of data has been provided, how you've provided it. Okay, this is the graphing. The visual aspect of it, presentation. Okay, high quality presentation including features such as text formatting, page formatting, all completed to a high standard. So how does it look overall? Okay, and this is same in literacy. Information is mostly accurate with few grammar, spelling, and punctuation errors. Okay, so look at this. Okay, this is a simple table, and then you have to provide a feedback as part of your peer review assignment. So keep a watch on this. Okay. All right, so this is the peer review assignment. This is the assignment. I'm not going to talk very much about the assignment. So this is the peer review assignment. You have to choose 3 posters and 3 infographics to review. Okay, based on the template you see here. This is the poster review template. This is the infographic review template. So you have to choose 3 posters here, and you have to choose 3 infographics here. And this is, as I said, this is the poster and infographic design assignment. So I'm not going to talk about this in this video lecture, but I will talk about this specifically in the next lecture. Okay, so take a look at all these examples, the poster examples, the infographics example, and the guidelines. If you don't read the guidelines, you will not understand how to do it. You will do it unprofessionally. But what I want you to do, see, this is designing professional posters and infographics. So you have to understand the concept well. And in order to understand the concept well, you have to read through the guidelines, these guidelines. Okay, these 2 PDF files are very important. So please read through the guidelines for poster design and guidelines for infographics design. These are very informative and gives you a very broad idea. This is not much of a reading. It's only a few pages. So read through this and look at the examples. You learn a lot when you look at examples. Thank you.